Hello you watch lovers, and welcome to this latest episode on my watch review channel. And today I'll be talking about the Baltic micro brand. I did an announcement of this episode, and I did an announcement that Baltic were taking pre-orders for the MR01, for the micro rotor gorgeous watch which I have in this box. So I did this announcement on the 25th of January, on Tuesday this week, and today is Saturday the 29th of January. So I had a couple of days of experience of the Baltic MR01. There might be one negative which I will keep on to the actual unboxing and the actual review. And I have another Baltic. I have the Aquascaphe, which I actually got even before I got my hands on the MR01, the Baltic Aquascaphe. And to tell you, it is different from the Tudor Black Bay 58, which is my example of a Rolex Submariner inspired heritage watch. So I will be comparing the Aquascaphe and how it measures up to the Tudor Black Bay 58, which is one of my favorite watches. And you see that it's sitting very well with its gilt dial. Beautiful watch. Absolutely love my Black Bay 58. Absolutely like it, and will be using it to compare to the Baltic. So today is all different because I planned my video, so I'm holding up to my promise. So first I will do the introduction, and second I will talk about the Baltic, actually filming the review of some websites. So I will use the Revolution, I will use the Kickstarter, I will use the Baltic website, and I will also be throwing in some Chrono 24 prices for the Baltic watches, and how much more the collectors want to part with their Baltic watches than the actual prices that you can get from the Baltic website, from the Baltic micro brand on its own. So I will probably start my video screening session, and then I'll move on to the unboxing and to showing you the two Baltic watches. There is a little sad bit that I discovered about the MR01, and something I'll have to cover in my review, because I don't want you to buy watches which I wouldn't recommend for a certain reason. And there is something about the build quality of the Baltic MR01 that I question now, after having 5 days with the watch on my wrist. I'll tell you about how good is the timekeeping. I'll tell you what is the general feeling that MR01, the micro rotor watch, gives you on wearing it for a couple of days. Okay, so with this in plan, I will move on to recording my browsing session on my computer. And straight away, if you search for Baltic watches and Revolution, you immediately come across this really beautiful sun-dialed chronograph, the Bicompax, the Seagull ST 1901 base chronograph. It's a beautiful watch, and the only problem why I don't have this watch in my collection is because I will go into Chrono 24 and show you the prices that your collectors obviously want to part with their watches. And I think it is a little bit over the cost, the price of a Seagull ST 1901 base chronograph watch. I mean, I introduced the Seagull watch to you when I was reviewing this homage of the Tudor Black Bay chronograph that was done by the Saint Martin micro brand from China, and their watch was $400. Here we have £2,000, but this is probably a watch from the collection of a particular watch collector, private seller, you can see here, which he will part with. So you collectors keep on to their Baltic watches. I will show you a few more of these when I will skip on to the Baltic website, and when I'll be talking about the actual Kickstarter campaign that started Baltic. But beautiful watch, you immediately notice it, you immediately notice the beautiful design, this part that makes it like a sector dial, the pulsometer scale instead of a tachymeter, and this is a reasonably good Chinese made chronograph movement, the mechanical, the manual wound chronograph movement, which is an official continuation of the Venus line of movements when the Chinese government bought the whole Venus manufacturing of the Venus 178 movement. So this was the continuation of the Venus hand-wound chronograph movement, which moved to China, and Seagull took on the production, and this watch, well, benefited from it. So talking about Baltic watches, you just have to mention the person, the creative person behind the micro brand. Etienne Malek made a name on his fantastic Kickstarter campaign and on the beautiful watches, especially this one, the salmon dialed beauty. Only the cost of these watches, what they go for, hinders me from just going and buying one. I think it is a gorgeous watch, good enough for anybody's collection. And you will see some more of these watches when I'll be talking about the Kickstarter campaign, and when I'll be talking about how I discovered Baltic. But it was this chronograph, this very nicely Baltic, the star on the dial, that really attracted my attention, and I really discovered Baltic, and I discovered the man of Etienne Malek as a designer whose designs are inspired by vintage watches, and you can really look for his interviews, are very interesting. I don't want to use anybody else's videos because this will be quite against the copyright. I don't know, well, there is a clear indication that I'm looking at the Revolution website. I don't know if I need to contact them to establish if I can be using this material for my video. But I'm a long time from monetization of my account, a long time from getting enough users. So this is the reference to the Kickstarter campaign, and next thing we will be looking at the Kickstarter campaign that started the Baltic micro brand. We're back into Firefox, and this was a brilliant Kickstarter campaign. So this allowed Etienne Malek, and you need to be, well, you need to be very good in watches, in advertising. So Etienne pulled off the beautiful Kickstarter campaign that introduced two watches. So it was a Bicompax 001, the hand-wound Seagull ST 1901 base chronograph, and also it was an automatic the first watch was the HMS-001, and this had the Miyota 8000 series movement, and I think it is a bit of a low down. I'm not really interested in a watch with the Seiko NH35 or the Miyota 8000 movement. These are a way to basic downscale movement. Nevertheless, the beautiful design of the watches, the fact that the same design carried through the three-hand automatic watch and the hand-wound chronograph. Also these beautiful, I will show you this box because my MR01 comes in this cork wood top watch box. I will show you this one when I do the full unboxing of my MR01. So a beautiful campaign, and this started the Baltic micro brand that gave them the original funding which they used to produce their watches, and it started a micro brand which was noticed most important by the revolution people. So now we'll go on to the Baltic website. You can see that this is still one of the final days for the pre-order of the MR01. So we can go and look at the watches that Baltic. So you can pre-order the blue, the salmon pink, or the white dial watches. So here you are. We can still place the pre-order for 545 euro. So this is significantly less than what people want on Chrono 24. So if we look for the Baltic MR01, not 91, 001. So you can see that the collectors are parting with their watches for the significantly greater amount of money. So immediately, so this is the Baltic, well, 545 euros. So you probably will have to pay VAT, and this will come out about 500 pounds, British pounds, if you ordered it directly from Baltic. Maybe slightly on top of the 500 pounds. Just compare this to the 1,200 pounds, and this you would have to pay the VAT on top of, or this 1,100 from Japan. You will still have to pay the import tax on these watches, which usually equals VAT on importing them into Britain. So really people would part with their Baltic MR01, but they want significantly more than what the micro brand is asking for their watches. I just need to choose. So 545 you can still pre-order, but wait till my final verdict on the watch which I got into my hands, and I will show you the other watches. So these are the Aquascapes, and I was so impressed by seeing this Aquascaphe in the Baltic website that I actually got one watch for myself, and I will be starting my review with this watch. This is the blue dialed, blue bezel Aquascaphe, and I got it on the tropical rubber strap. Really beautiful watch. You can also get it on the beads of rice, this type of vintage vintage bracelet, but I don't regret getting it on this rubber tropical strap, and the watch is beautiful, and I will do a proper review, proper unboxing of the Baltic Aquascaphe. I'm actually slightly happier with the Aquascaphe than with the MR01. So which other watches Baltic are doing? So obviously you have the versions of Aquascaphe as the compressor diver. Also could be very interesting watches. And you have the Aquascaphe GMT, something I would want to discover for myself. So these are the bicompax chronographs which you can buy from Baltic. I think this one is, once again, you have to pre-order them. You have to pre-order all these watches. You cannot just directly go and buy them. 540 euros is just about where I think this watch is worth buying. I like this minute track. I like the design of this watch, this combination of a sector dial. Of course I would prefer the Baltic chronograph, the salmon dialed chronograph, but this watch is significantly more expensive than the chronograph that you can order from the Baltic brand, from the micro brand itself. And these are the HMS01 watches, but unfortunately this has the 8000 Miyota movement. The Aquascaphes, which I showed you earlier, these are based on the Miyota 9000 movement, and it was also the discovery of the Miyota 9000 movement which moved me to be interested in this watch. But at first I will show you. I have one small disappointment with the MR01, so please watch the continuation of my review. Now I found it very easy to create internet content by just recording my browsing sessions. I don't want to use it so much. I want to present to you the experience with real watches. I think it is just way too easy to create content from browsing the web and looking at these websites. But it is an interesting experience just to try. So we are now into the third part of today's episode, and I'm gonna talk about the Baltic Aquascaphe at first, because I got it a week before I got the MR01, and so I have a better experience with this watch. So this is Baltic packaging, the outer box. Here is an extra tropical leather strap. I'm quite happy I got one extra one, because I think I really like to wear this watch tight on my wrists, and that will stretch out the rubber strap. So this is the Baltic watch description, and most important, the international warranty which comes at the end of the booklet. So I will just show you what this warranty generally looks like. So this is the international warranty. This is something that came with the watch. I didn't really inspect this strip. And now the watch box. So I will show you the watch box for the MR01, and this will be like a slightly more upscale Baltic watch box. But basically it is okay. And here is the watch. So the whole purpose of wearing the Black Bay 58 is to compare the feeling of these two watches, to compare them side by side. So I'm really glad I tried out this rubber strap, because the watch is gorgeous. So at first the sapphire on the on the Black Bay, and there is a more vintagey. This is a mineral crystal. This is the Hasselite crystal on the Baltic. I think that Baltic made this decision to base all their watches with a Hasselite crystal. I don't think it is very expensive buying sapphire, the synthetic sapphire crystals, especially if you buy them from the Asian market. They're not particularly much more expensive, but you really need to see how this Hasselite crystal distorts the actual dial. It is a beautiful thing and a vintage thing in itself. Using this kind of outdated, you can see how clear is the reading of the sapphire on my Black Bay, the Tudor watch. And here compare them one side by side. So both of them have 39mm case diameter. Well, the Baltic actually has 39mm bezel diameter, but as you can see, the bezel expands slightly over the case, so the case might be actually 38mm, but it is a significantly skinnier, well, it is a skin diver. So I am hoping that I will get a photograph of blank pan Aquascaphe, the vintage blank pan, to introduce in this particular shot. So the Baltic doesn't get its heritage from the Rolex Submariners, and Tudor is a better presentation of this Rolex type of design, the markers, well, it's a gorgeous watch. It's a gorgeous gilt dial. It's a gorgeous recreation of a Rolex Submariner, while this watch drives its heritage from the blank pan, the other great Swiss manufacturer of diver watches. But I really liked the feeling of the Baltic Aquascaphe on my wrist. So I will change from my Black Bay, the trusted Black Bay 58. Love this watch. Really have no quarrels. Love wearing it, love owning it. Would never sell it. Really one of my favorite watches in my watch collection. But here, look at the blank pan on my wrist. I think that you get immediately that vintage, that heritage feeling that this watch gives you. And I think it is very matching on this rubber tropical rubber strap. So this is fantastic deep blue color, almost black in many situations. So this is a 120 click, very good action from the bezel of the watch. So it is well, it's only rotating counterclockwise as all the diving bezels do, and it aligns properly with the 12 o'clock. There are triangular markers at 3, 6 and 9, and there is a numerical 12, and very nice patinaed dial of this watch. Also well loomed, and the gilt dial of this watch is just fantastic. I really like the performance of the Miyota 9000 series. This is my first experience with this Miyota movement, and over the last week I think it gained about 40 seconds. So this is less than 8 seconds per day plus 8 seconds per day. This is good enough for a timekeeper for me. So really like this watch. I don't know if it will stay in the collection or whether it is just too much. It will have too much competition from the Black Bay 58. Like both watches, like the aesthetics, like the wearing experience of the blank pan, of this blank pan reissue in a Baltic. So it is 39mm diameter bezel, slightly thinner case, probably 38mm, 12.9mm. So it is not particularly wide, the watch case of the Baltic Aquascaphe, and 46mm lug-to-lug distance. So the lug-to-lug distance is not severe, and is not particularly big. It is a very good match, and I like to wear this tropical rubber strap quite tight on my wrist. It is nice and a good experience and good timekeeping. So I can fully recommend this Aquascaphe to all my subscribers. It's a really good watch, really good value, and I like the Baltic design. Everything is right with this watch, and it feels very well on my wrist, and it has reasonably good timekeeping. So I will make a small break, and I will move on to talking about the MR01. So after a small break. So now we're into the final part of today's presentation, and I'll be talking about the Baltic MR01. So this was the whole reason to do this review. I just wanted to get my hands on this watch because I like the watch. I like the idea of having a micro rotor movement, but let's just move on with the unboxing. So this is a slightly top grade Baltic watch box because it has this absolutely gorgeous cork top on the top of the watch box. So so this is the Baltic Certificate. So it has the description of the watch. It has the full technical details of the MR01. So this is the photograph of the salmon dial watch, but they are exactly the same. And obviously this is the international certificate for my particular watch. And here is the watch in the Baltic watch box. I think that the presentation is really good. I like the quality of the watch box. I like the whole experience that Baltic are giving with their watches. And I think that this watch is just beautiful. 36mm, but it does feel slightly bigger. It does feel on the wrist like it is at least 37. So quite a few watches today, counting on the Tudor, the Aquascaphe, and now the MR01. So I like this blue dial. I like the Breguet numerals. I like the finishing level on the watch. I would say that I really liked it, wearing it for the last 5 days. The only thing that I noticed is that over the 5 days of wearing, this watch gained a minute. So for the 5 days, a minute, that equals 12 seconds per day. So it's about plus 10 seconds per day performance, which is not bad, but not really the top performance. I love the dial, I love the brigade numerals, I love the finishing of the dial, I like the finishing of the watch, I like the finishing even on this Chinese Hangzhou 5000 caliber 5000A micro rotor movement. So there is a big discussion between the watch enthusiasts whether the price that Baltic are asking for the watch, and this was all this first part, 545 euros, whether this is worth for the watch with a relatively, well, this is not the highest quality micro rotor movement that you can get in the watches. The Chinese micro brand watches with this movement are significantly cheaper, but obviously you are paying for the fact that the watches were assembled in France and that they were and the quality control of these watches is much higher than for those that are released on AliExpress. Obviously this is a proper European micro brand, and there are already many news of people getting their watches fixed or well serviced by Baltic, and they're keeping to their promise. So 2 years of warranty with the French micro brand seems to be very, very, very good. But I told you that I have a couple of complaints. So first of all, I think that the crown is a little bit small and a little bit fiddly in operation. So winding up the watch, but it is automatic. It will be wound up by the micro rotor, but winding up the watch, changing time, changing the time setting is a little bit fiddly with this watch. And now my biggest disappointment in the Baltic MR01. I like it, I like everything. I gladly wore it for the last 5 days. It was a starter for a conversation, and many people tried this on. Many people know about this watch. Many of my watch collecting buddies here in Belfast were really excited about seeing the watch and trying it in their hands. But one disappointing moment, and something you need to consider if you plan on buying the Baltic, or maybe just wait till the second run. Originally Baltic only made 200 of each dial colors, so this is for today one of the 200 blue watches that were produced by the micro brand in their first run. Maybe they are working on this issue, but when it's on the wrist, if I just tap on the top of the watch, it makes a little bit of rattling sound. You wouldn't expect this type of response from a properly built watch. So I think it is the movement. It is the movement that rattles this little bit. I will bring it to my microphone, to my lavalier microphone, so that you can hear it better. This is not the type of response you want to have from your perfect watch. Really, this rattling sound. I really hope that Baltic is looking into, well, eliminating this noise, improving the quality of the movement, because I'm sure that the movement is responsible for making the sound. Also, the crown is, well, it can be bigger, it can be increased in size, it can have some shape, because now it is a very, very basic crown of a very basic watch. I wouldn't change anything about the shape of the case of the watch. 39 millimeters case diameter, only 41 millimeters lug-to-lug distance. It sits very comfortable, and the leather strap is just fantastically fitting this watch. Really like the whole design of the watch. Just bothered by this rattling sound. Really want this watch to be much better on the finish than it is. And probably the only problem that I discovered about this watch, you don't hear this rattle. You can use the micro rotor and it doesn't rattle so much. But if you just touch this watch, if you just tap on the case, it rattles. And this, I'm just feeling like it could be so much better than it really is in everyday use. I like the lugs, I like the shape, I like all the design features that were put into this watch. And it is probably the movement, it is probably the Hangzhou 5000A that is not finished so precisely well. You cannot really compare this to a Patek. You cannot really compare this to a Vacheron. You really cannot compare this to the quality of Rolex's. Unfortunate, because the watch is very attractive. The watch is very beautiful, but the price is not excessive at 545 euros. So I can still recommend it. I like the experience myself. I wanted to experience this movement in this watch, and I don't think that I overpaid for it. But really can be improved. Really, maybe where we are waiting for the MR02 or higher grade watch or micro rotor watch from the Baltic brand. Well, at the end of the day, even the Hangzhou, the Chinese manufacturers of this movement, should be aware of the possible improvement to their product. I really don't like touching and tapping on the keys of the watch, because I don't like the sound that it produces. And this is my only negative experience with the watch. Decent timekeeping, gorgeous looks. I like that Baltic didn't use that date function of the Chinese movement, because I don't like what this movement looks on the watches that have the date function. The basic movement does support, the basic Hangzhou 5000 does support the date function, but it was overlooked. There is no date position on this crown, so probably the full date function was removed from the movement, which is used for the Baltic MR01. Really mixed feelings, because I like the feeling of this watch on my wrist, but there is something that is warning me that the build quality is not quite up to with the watches that I'm more used to. So Aquascaphe, in my mind, is a better overall watch, a better experience on the wrist, and the Miyota 9000 series movement is a much better movement than the Hangzhou 5000 in this MR01. But maybe we're seeing the brand in process. Maybe Baltic will improve on their watches, on the quality of their MR01. I really need to see what would the watches that will come out towards the end of summer, towards September, Baltic will be will be delivering on their current pre-order, and maybe these watches will be better, will be an improvement. Really want to find this out. Don't dislike this watch. Really good experience. Really like this, but really could have some improvements over what I've seen. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this. This is quite a video with so many parts and so many things I had to say about the Baltic micro brand. So if you want more of these journeys into the world of some attainable, some maybe more expensive watches, please like and subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment if you liked any part of this, and please keep in touch. Let's keep this watch community rolling. Let us keep these experiences and share them with one another. Okay, see you guys. Bye.